You're very welcome along to Allianz Leagues Reloaded, another fascinating weekend to review. We'll also look ahead to an exciting weekend of hurling. We'll do so in the company once again of Kieran, Donaghy, Seamus, Hickey and Eamon Donoghue. As always, we want to hear from you at home, and you can do so on all the usual social media channels by following the hashtag Allianz Leagues Reloaded. Here's what's coming up on the show tonight. Well, there's only one place to start, and that's in Austin Stack Park in Tralee, where Kerry and Dublin played out another thriller.
Since the straw was made and it was Austin Stack Park, Tralee, we've all been looking forward to this game. I think Austin Stack Park, you know, we saw it 2 years ago. I think it's worth 2 or 3 points to Kerry.
I think for the players out there, they're waiting for a Dublin jersey and vice versa. They're waiting for a Kerry jersey to come down the pitch, and they're going to get ready to go to war for the next 70 minutes.
Well, it's a 12,000 sellout here at Austin Stack Park in Tralee, the oldest and the most magical rivalry of them all in Gaelic football. Well, Peter Keane has got them playing a different kind of football this spring, and they make it look very easy.
The most impressive thing about this game so far has been Kerry's aggression level. It's been fantastic.
First of the evening from play for Dean Rock, his third in all, and that gap starts to get a little smaller. Dangerous ball, O'Connor's in after it, buried by Stephen O'Brien. Goal for Kerry, goal for O'Brien. Con O'Callaghan weaves his way past 2, 3, O'Callaghan! It's a goal!
A real stamp of this Dublin side over the last number of years, that when they're called upon or they need to react to something that's happened, they're first on it.
Dublin backed off, Moynihan backed himself, and over it goes.
Fellas are really working hard around the middle eight. The likes of Darragh Moynihan is having a stormer out there.
And all of a sudden, that lead is out to 4 now.
The beauty about this game is it's tit for tat.
Mannion goes by O'Begley. Mannion! Oh, that's a terrific goal from Paul Mannion. Dublin back in business.
1-11 to 2-6. That'll be a full-time score result for the lot of games tomorrow.
Well, they are hassling and harrying Dublin, not giving them a moment's peace. It's all going Kerry's way. They have come flying out of the blocks at the start of this second half.
4 points down with 9 minutes to go. There'll be no panic here from Dublin. They'll see themselves as being right in the game.
Looked like Gavin Crowley and Michael Fitzsimons got wrapped up in each other after the ball had gone on. And it's a second booking for Fitzsimons, and he's gone. Dublin are down to 14 men. We're right back at square one, stalemate, and just like 2 years ago here in Tralee, are we set to have another draw. So we're going to get the grandstand finish that everybody was hoping for. Moore with the sidestep, a chance for Peter Crowley, and Peter Crowley, the most unlikely of scorers, pops up to put Kerry in front. Kerry have beaten Dublin. The league and All-Ireland champions have been taken down by Peter Keane and Kerry here at Austin Stack Park, and they deserved it.
What a game we had there in Tralee. We're going to dissect that a little bit further now with Kieran, and there was one particular part of the play, the long ball. Kerry used it very well, Kieran. You're going to go through this.
I didn't miss football too much till I saw Tom O'Sullivan floating in these pingers the last day on the outside of his left boot, but you know, he's got a great connection with Paul here, especially on this first one. But what I loved about it is how quick he gets his head up. He's looking here straight away into Paul. Not the greatest of positions to kick it from, pretty straight. Paul is on a 1-on-2 there, but it just shows you that was obviously a key point to Kerry to focus on, is to get it inside, and especially early, test out Dublin inside, and no better man in the air than Paul Gainey to fight for it inside. But this ball travels 50 metres, Paul grabs it within 2 or 3 seconds and pops it over the bar. So how easy that score is, besides trying to work it up the pitch all the time, is the value in that.
And we see Mick Fitzsimons ends up outside the man. Kind of, he's playing there. There's no Cian O'Sullivan, there was no Philip McMahon, James McCarthy hasn't gone back at this stage. As a defender's point of view, what's the best way of stopping that?
Well, Dublin are quite good at it actually. Is, you know, they'll get in with their hips nice and close to you, and when they're jumping, they're very good at putting one hand on your back and another hand to fist the ball out. We'll see an example of that later on with James McCarthy. maybe Mick Fitzsimon's more used to being in the corner, not used to competing in that, and Kerry did it very well the last day, especially with the way they move players around. But you know, Paul is excellent over his head, and obviously a great score getter as well, and that's it. Here you see Tommy again, like, you know, it's the look up. That's what I liked from Kerry the last day, more so than all of a sudden that they're just bombing everything in. It was the look, what have I got on inside? Paul's on inside. I think it's actually Gavin O'Brien that's on inside here again. 1 on 3, again not a great ball, but the willingness to put it in is magnificent. And we see here, you know, a high ball in here. We have Gavin O'Brien going for it inside. He's kind of 1 on 2. It's not a great scenario. The goalie's behind him, but the big thing here is Stephen O'Brien, Paul Geary crashing off the inside line. You know, they're going to make this run. This is a gamble. You know, it's not an easy thing to do. They could take a play off in this instance, but Paul Geary's run in particular here forces the knockout from the Dublin defender, and then Sean O'Shea steps up and knocks over 45. So what was potentially a bad play ends up being a good play. And we have it here again, a lovely ball, lovely angle, looking up who's on inside, diagonal ball. Good flight into the danger area. Nothing worse than defenders having to face that, a ball coming in. They're at 6s and 7s, they're panicking a small bit. And, you know, Stephen O'Brien gambling again. Like, and we see it here again from this angle. And, like, you've Sean O'Shea, who is a good 30 yards from goal here, but he's been positive. You've Stephen O'Brien, who's coming in here. They want to get on the end of that. That's what I saw from Kerry the last day, which was huge, a huge difference to this. Great contest by Diarmuid O'Connor. Paul Geary is cute enough inside to stay down, leave Diarmuid at it in case the break went his side. So Kerry had a good chance to pick up in this. Diarmuid gets a fist in it, and Stephen's coming on to it like a train.
And we also see that it's Diarmuid in here inside who's going for the high ball. The last one, Gavin O'Brien. The first one, Paul Geary. We've seen Sean O'Shea go for ones. Tommy Walsh came on. That Kerry forward line's constantly rotating different men in there.
Yeah, it's something we haven't seen too much out of Kerry the last number of years, and maybe it was something they focused on. But I think there was such a level of positivity about ball being put in there that fellas were actually working to get in there. Like Diarmuid O'Connor, I don't think started in there. He came in from the side because he knew the ball was coming in from the sideline. So it's that positive way of thinking and being gambling in a good way, and not being kind of cautious and we'll stay back and we'll hold against the All-Ireland champions. Kerry went for it the last day in the first half, and it showed. But look, you know, Stephen is on that. That's a great finish. Again, Tadhg Morley, lovely run. He's here, he's standing there, he's looking in, who's on, who's moving. And a lot of the early balls we showed in is the traditional high diagonal kind of ball, but Kerry can mix it up with the likes of Paul Geary, especially Tommy Walsh came on here. Tommy playing in Australia for a number of years, leads very well with this, catches it, safe pair of hands, and that's really good from Tommy. You know, he's very strong like that. And we also see, we're about to see here, 2 men flying off his shoulder. Yeah, like, you know, it's for Tommy, you know, that was a mark the last day, but, you know, that rule's not going to be in championship. But it was on that clip was Gavin O'Brien, who showed serious pace all day, showed serious kind of running ability. And Tommy Walsh is coming out and win that. Tommy's hands are so quick, played a bit of basketball with me when he was younger, played the Aussie rules. They have serious quick hands in the Aussie rules, and showed it for his whole career when he was in with Kerry. He would leave that off, and Gavin O'Brien is cutting at a hard angle, and that would have been something that Dublin mightn't have fancied at that stage. But with the mark, Tommy was probably right to take it. Again, and this is another lovely diagonal ball, and Tommy gets a bit of a hand here on James McCarthy, and you know, he should nearly try and hold him for a split second more here, Tommy, because he's so physically strong, and he can get a better run at the ball. You see when the ball actually lands here, it's a good contest, and watch for James McCarthy getting a hand on the back and the fist up for the ball. It's what a lot of the Dublin defenders are very good at, hand in the shoulder, fisting it out. But what we have again from Kerry is Stephen O'Brien, positive, hungry, and been chasing after it. So that was a big thing for Kerry the last day. Yeah, so altogether there was 8 long balls that actually made it in. Kerry won 7 and they scored 1-4. But only 2 the forward who was kicked into actually won the ball. So I think the main thing here is the players rushing in. Absolutely, it's just positive thinking. It's you have to be, if you want to win a game like that, you have to take chances. You're not going to win games by being cautious, standing back. Kerry went for the juggler the last day, especially in the first half, and made hay off it. Yeah. Our second piece of analysis is regarding Brian Fenton. Brian never plays a bad game, but in the game here, we're basically breaking it into 10-minute segments in which we're comparing Brian Fenton's touches and involvements with the score and Dublin's score in aggregate. And as you can see, the two are pretty much mirroring each other. So there's a few reasons for that. It basically shows the importance of Brian Fenton, but also shows the marking job that was being done on Brian Fenton, but he kind of broke through in that last 60 minutes. So there's a couple of clips we're going to look at here. The first one here, we're just going to basically show, Shawnee O'Shea, or Jack Barry rather, is marking Brian Fenton here. And we're just going to follow him, and we're going to see the fact that
no matter where he's going, his midfield, there's a lot of space here. He's going left to right. He's constantly trying to get goal side. He's following him here. And this is early on in the game. Brian's just looking for that easy hand pass, but every time his teammate is looking up, he can't give it to him.
Yeah, Kerry did that very well. Not only Jack, I think every Kerry player the last day, they didn't fall back into this zone that we're seeing so many teams do this. They pushed and pushed at the ball. Every time a man got the ball, he was challenged to try and take you on. And on a wet night, that was a good call from Kerry, and Jack did it really well for a long part of the game.
Yeah, and then here we're going to look again with Brian Fenton here. This particular time now, he's going to make a little bit of a harder run, and it's something which he actually does very often when he's trying to get away from a man. He pushes quite far up the field, and then he comes back and he gives himself a bit more space, and he's not having to look for the ball in his own full back line.
100%. And what I love about this is, and this is what Dublin faced, was pressure the last day. Kerry really got pressure out there. Like, the easy thing to do for Jack Barry, and that is once Brian gets the push off, Jack just to stay there, leave him get it, leave him turn. But that creates an awful lot of trouble when you've got the forwards that Dublin have inside.
Yeah. And he's forcing the take on, but Jack keeps getting back behind. He's still in front of him, and he's very lucky with this kick.
Yeah, it's a kind of loopy kick. I think Breen loses it in the air. They end up getting a mark out of it, but that's a good ball for a back.
You can see Fenton here. He's back. He's demanding the ball. He's calling for. He's behind. This is the last 10 minutes now. So this is when he starts to come into his own, and Dublin, the game starts to turn back. He's still behind. He's roaring. He's calling for the ball. Gets back to him eventually, and again, Kerry are well set up. But he gives them goals, and he's starting to force the game here. But it's just Kerry are quite well set up here.
Yeah, I like the way they've kept pushing him, keeping him down the same line. And when you let somebody in, that's invariably what's going to happen, is to give away a foul. But Kerry did very well at that, holding him out the last day out wide.
This is his score. At this stage of the game, 10 minutes left. Jack Barry's starting to tire a little bit. You can see he's standing a little bit off of him. He's here. He's starting to stand off of him a small bit. Fenton comes back around.
Yeah, I think exactly in that instance, Jack is probably more worried about possible danger for goal here. Kerry are 2 or 3 points up. There's 4 or 5 minutes to go. They're getting on the cautious side, which is a natural instinct to do, and Brian takes advantage of it with a great kick. He's a great kicker for a big man.
And this is the last one. It's the final score. Brian Fenton starts it again. And again, we can see as this play starts, we're going to speed it up a little bit. As this play goes on, he's constantly behind the play, which is something he wasn't able to do in the first half and for most of the second half, but it's something which he loves to do, and he's behind it. And when he collects this ball, the massive amount of space which he has here in the middle of the field, a big powerful man, and this is where Jack Barry all day had been.
Yep.
But there's no one here now.
Yeah, he's protecting goal side.
And you were very impressed with just the character.
The character, and put the pressure from Crowley to get over there and put the pressure on. But in the lead up to that, Paul Flynn had a chance to maybe put it on his right leg. He's a very good kicker from that side, turned it down. Somebody else turned it down outside him. Fairness to Fenton, having not had a great game, had serious courage to go and try and kick that equaliser in the 74th minute after being hounded by Jack Barry for that long. So a great battle between 2 great players out in the middle of the field.
One of the other things we couldn't see there was just the kick out, in terms of Brian Fenton never contested an entire kick out in that game as a midfielder. Against Galway, he contested 10. 9 of them were the Galway kick outs. So it just shows that Kerry were working very hard in Jack Barry and pulling to one side, and there's a lot more goes into it which we don't see in stopping someone contesting.
I've been that soldier when you're outside midfield and you're trying to win a ball and they're pulling you over to one side, and in your heart and soul the keeper's kicking it the other way all day, but that's somewhere we just have to toughen it out at that stage of the game.
That's great. We're going to go back to that analysis. Great analysis.
Yeah.
Thanks, Eamon. Thank you. I suppose, like Kieran mentioned the word there, battle. This was the battle. This was the game that football needed, wasn't it, Seamus?
The Kerry versus Dublin football game has a weight of expectation every time, because people crave the type of football they play. It was funny, there may as well have been no other football game on this weekend, such was the attention to Tralee. I thought you loved that, all the attention on Tralee. But it's just, I've always watched Kerry teams play football because I love how they play. There was also a lack of Limerick football for quite a while. But when they play Dublin, they bring out the best in each other. Invariably, and I suppose with the circumstances around football at the moment, and we're talking about rule changes and we're talking about the quality of football, the weight seemed even greater this time round. I thought it was a superb game. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the co-com, particularly on Air Sport. I thought it was very, very...
blushing, I think.
Yeah, we was used quite a few times for Kerry, wasn't it?
Yeah, but, be careful of that.
No, but it delivered in terms of A, the appetite for football, B, the quality of football. I wouldn't overstate it, but you know, it was a really enjoyable football game.
Yeah.
It
But
was
there
really
was
nice
a
to
bit of a
watch.
relief there as well. There wasn't that it delivered on what everybody expected it to be.
Yeah, well, it way went above the expectation, I think. How good of a game it was, the fact that when you're going through an analysis and preparing for this, and you could watch that game 3 or 4 times, and every time you're picking up something extra. In terms of intensity levels, we're comparing football to hurling so often, and you know it's only league, but like the aggression levels, and if that's a template for football, which Kerry and Dublin all the way through the years have set the template for how football should be played, you know, we're going in the right direction.
And you mentioned the atmosphere last week. Well, I mean, I was there from about 4 o'clock. I mean, the place was packed. It was incredible.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Came down at 5:30 and walked in. There was a live concert was on. Liam O'Connor was walking up and down the steps with the card in. The place was absolutely lifting, and credit has to go to Tim Murphy and the Kerry County Board for organising that. They knew people had been there 2 hours before a game, rather than just sitting there freezing for that long, to have a concert. But it really set the tone for what was going to be a special day. And like, you know, Croke Park could even learn off of that. We're here, you know, we've got All-Ireland finals, we've 80,000 people at it, it's watched by millions all over the world, yet half-time is a bit of a drab affair. You know, I think the Coronas or the lads would love to come in and play a 15-minute set there, and it'd keep the crowd going and just add to the occasion. I think Kerry took a big step in that the last day, but look, the atmosphere was brilliant. You couldn't get a ticket. There was fellas with ladders out the back when I was coming in at 5:30 trying to sneak in over the wall. So I think there was 12,000 there. You could maybe add another 30 or 40 to that, I think.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, there's an intense rivalry that exists between Kerry and Dublin always, and so we saw a little bit of that even after the ref blew the final whistle, a bit of argy-bargy. What did you make of that?
Yeah, well, that's the start of the next meeting. It could be an All-Ireland final, but that was statements being made, and no one kind of wanted to leave it at that, because it's not going to be left at that. Yeah,
it was like, you know, really and truly there was nothing in it, just a bit of kind of holding your ground and holding, you know, this is our ground, we're after winning today now, and you know they didn't want to lose.
But it's very much about, like, so you just last couple of weeks see how much effort it took from Monaghan and Kerry to knock Dublin off their spot. So Dublin are trying to stand their ground, but you're talking about every team in the country is bringing maximum effort, and anything less than maximum effort against the All-Ireland champions and against the team chasing history is not going to cut it.
They'll blow you out.
And then you have that niggle at the end, because Dublin don't want to be knocked around and Kerry don't want to back down before summer. So I was delighted to see it. Players care. You know, and when players care, it means, you know, the competitive levels are up.
Yeah. And I know we shouldn't say that, but I think everybody kind of liked to see that, because, like you said, it meant something. You know,
the game was, the whole evening was brilliant, and I think for the guy in the crowd, the guy in the terrace, the little bit of a shamazel at the end got the blood going a small bit more. So it literally, the game had everything, and credit goes to both teams putting on such a show.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so Dublin's second defeat of the league meant Peter Keane's maintained his 100% record. Mayo also made it 3 wins from 3 with a 5-point win over Cavan. Tyrone got their first point of the season after some Niall Morgan heroics secured a draw against Roscommon, and Galway got the better of Monaghan in Kelowna. So after 3 rounds, Kerry and Mayo sit top of Division 1 with perfect records. Galway climbed to 3rd, while Dublin dropped down to 5th place. Cavan are rooted to the bottom, are the only side yet to get off the mark. Now, there is no football this weekend, but we have a treat in store on Saturday week. As Dublin face Mayo in HQ, Jim Gavin goes up against James Horan once again. We have the game live and exclusive on Air Sport 1, with the build-up starting at 6:30. Coming up next, we will preview round 3 of the Allianz Hurling League, so do stay with us.
Supporting all 32 counties,